Welcome to everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to be here at the ITIC Summit, albeit not in person in some magical location, but all of us around the world able to join in at what is such a crucial time and such a challenging period for the tourism sector. And looking at Africa, we know that COVID is likely to cost the economies of Africa over $90 billion US. The World Travel and Tourism Congress thinks that tourism in Kenya will drop by 60% and in South Africa by 75%. 1.2 million jobs in South Africa will be impacted by the economic impacts of COVID. That's 10% of all jobs in South Africa. So inbound investment in tourism, investment in Africa has become never more important than before. It's about rebuilding the future. It's about boosting the economies. It's about creating jobs and opportunity. And there's no question that Africa is not an exciting destination. It is. We've seen growth in African tourism investment up to $40 billion a year just this time before COVID, the year before COVID. And it's a sector that employs 9.1 million jobs across the continent. So we know that COVID is having a chaotic effect on investment in Africa. We know that COVID is having a devastating effect on tourism around the world, and particularly into Africa. But as the Chinese saying goes, out of chaos comes opportunity. We have the most wonderful panel here today. Miss Belise Kariza, the Chief Tourism Officer for Rwanda. We have Cuthbert, who's the Executive Chairman of the African Tourism Board. And we have Nick, who's the CEO of Rwanda Finance since September 2019. Nick has a fabulous background in investment, not just in tourism. And he's helping Rwanda Finance move forward, focused on services and products around the world. Now, I have noticed, Nick, that Rwanda and Arsenal have a very good relationship. I think Rwanda actually sponsors Arsenal. I think, in fact, Rwanda appears on the logo for Arsenal football players. I know that the president even tweets about Arsenal, and yet I understand you're a Chelsea and Real Madrid fan. Is that a sign of the independence of the financial center from the government of the country? And perhaps as a second and more relevant question, if I may, we know that African economies, many need to diversify. They need to move away from an agrarian economy. They need tourism to help them grow their economies, and other economies perhaps are over-dependent on tourism. They need to diversify in a different way. Could you tell us, why is diversification becoming so critical for African countries? What's the role of Rwanda in helping them to attract investment to diversify?
Thank you, Mark, and good afternoon to the audience. Mark, something else I would hazard to add about the effects of the pandemic is that we are seeing increasing uncertainty. We are seeing fear and distrust. Now, the impact of this is that within the financial services sector, banks, for example, are reducing lending. Consumers are reducing consumption. Companies are reducing their investments. Now, thanks to the leadership of our country, Kigali International Financial Center is aiming to play a very important role of providing a platform to international investments into Africa. Like you rightly put, given the effects of the pandemic on tourism, there is need to accelerate diversification. In Rwanda, after the launch of Kigali International Financial Center, most recently, we've had cross-listing on the Rwanda Stock Exchange of a health service provider. We are seeing companies that are interested in investing in education. We are seeing investors who are looking at investments into mortgage banking, all to say that there is need for diversification. There is need to accelerate investment into infrastructure so that at the time when we are seeing the ease and the pickup of tourism, we can have a support infrastructure. And that's the role of that Kigali International Financial Center is looking to fill. Thank you.
That's absolutely fantastic. So I think what you're saying is that if you need investment in infrastructure, come to you. If you need investment in tourism, come to you. If you want investment in healthcare, come to you. It seems that Rwanda's positioning itself perfectly to be a gateway for investment, safe, secure investment into Africa. And Cuthbert, if I can come to you, talk to us, would you, about investing in tourism in Africa? What are the opportunities? What are the exciting things? Where should we all be putting our money?
Thank you.
Cuthbert, I think you're on mute, which I think is the most common phrase on Zoom.
my apologies. And once again, thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate it. It's an honor once again to have myself in this program and also with my panelists. It's a pleasure to see you and meet you once again. Mark, I believe that in every storm, there should be a silver lining on the horizon. There should be a rainbow. So therefore, our focus shouldn't be on the storm that has actually bedeviled the whole continent. I believe that the introduction, especially when we look at our continent, the introduction of a free trade zone in Africa that brings together 54, 55 member states that have a GDP that is already exceeding more than $3 trillion into a single basket market. Africa has come at the crossroad, considering the history of progress with so much advancement in many sectors and segments of our economies. Before the pandemic, Africa has been experiencing a very steady growth within the tourism sector. According to previous years, the worldwide average increase of international tourists had been 7%, and Africa countries have enormously increased by 8 to 6%, which is the highest growth percentage on the international tourism scale. This appreciates that before us stands a rare opportunity whose fulfillment is dependent on our devotion, on our hard work, and on our open-mindedness. So therefore, our continent has more than enough opportunities for tourist investment for the time, our time, and the times ahead. I would allude with Nick when he's saying, yes, come and do investment in Africa within the agro-tourism, within the health sector tourism, within the infrastructure development. We have so much opportunities that needs to be explored. And I believe that Africa is going to be one of the best powerhouses of the world within the economic sector. So therefore, we are really inviting and opening our arms to say Africa is open, and we are going to come out of this dark age. And we inviting you to come, indulge and explore opportunities in our motherland.
So not wanting to put words in your mouth, Cuthbert, if you were down to your last 100 Rand, dollars, Deutschmarks, whatever it is, and bearing in mind that Belise is speaking next, where would you invest your last £100 in African tourism?
Look, we actually post, as I indicated to you, that within the agro-tourism, within the energy sector, we've got the best weather all around, within the hospitality opportunities. And like I said, within the medical tourism, we have experienced an influx from Africa seeking medical attention in Asia, in the United States. We are saying, why can't you bring that expertise where it is much needed? So there are quite a lot of good opportunities in Africa.
That's fantastic. Thank you. It was a politician's answer, I suspect, Cuthbert. Now, Belise, why would our last £100 be spent in Rwanda? Tell us about the incredible work that you're doing in Rwanda to grow the tourism sector and to help diversify the Rwandan economy away from an agrarian base.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, and my fellow panelists. I think I should have started as a lady, but you know, I'm
We
glad
saved
that
the best till last, Belise. We saved the best till last.
I think I understand why. I understand why I'm the last person. I think perhaps what I could do is start with a little bit on tourism, and here in Rwanda. And of course, I think we all know, like a lot of countries in Africa, it is a strategic sector for the economy. And to put you a little bit into perspective in numbers, in 2019, tourism contributed 10% of our GDP and 8% of Rwanda's off-farm employment. And our strategy has always been to position Rwanda as a high-end ecotourism destination, which has made the government of Rwanda really focus on attracting key significant players in the industry, such as Singita, the likes of One and Only, Wilderness Safari, etc. And this has made a great impact, mainly even in the local community development, job creations, and of course, local sourcing. But of course, we know that COVID has hit this travel and tourism industry pretty bad. And I think there are a lot of things that we're trying to do to recover. But to your question, perhaps apart from everything that we've done right, I believe what, in the perspective of an investor, perhaps allow me to just highlight a couple of interesting incentives that, when you come to Rwanda, when you come as an investor, some of the incentives that we can offer you. And the first one is that, when you register at RDB, you get access to attractive investment incentives, like I said. And all of them are outlined in the investment law, which you can find even on our website, rdb.rw. And you also get a 7-year corporate income tax. For example, an investor in tourism investing an equivalent of at least $50 million and contributed at least 30% of the investment in form of equity. And you also get a 50% investment allowance for tourism investment, worth at least $1,800,000 United States dollars. You get hotel equipment exempted from paying.
Can I'm so sorry to interrupt, Belise. It's fascinating. Yes. Question for you. If an investor comes in with a significant sum, $50 million, let's say, they want to access Africa in a familiar, safe and secure way. So they come and see Nick and they say, Nick, I believe in Africa, I believe in tourism, I've got a lot of money and I want to invest it, but I don't want to invest it in one country. I want to invest it across a portfolio of countries. Do those advantages that you're talking about still apply because they're investing through the Kigali International Financial Center, or does it have to be investment only in Rwanda?
I think Nick could probably answer this question better. So Nick, over to you on that one. But of course, I'll speak overall for on behalf of government of Rwanda. But I believe because we're looking at Africa as a continent to attract investors in a continent, perhaps Nick can quickly jump onto as an expert in that.
Sure. Thank you, Belise, and thank you, Mark. I think it's equally very important to recall that last year it's in Rwanda that we had the signing of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And Kigali International Financial Center is looking, Mark, to structure investments in Rwanda and across the region. So to your question, yes, it's very possible for an international investor to structure their investments in Rwanda while looking, for example, to invest into the DRC or to invest into Kenya. That's why we believe that at this moment in time, it's very important to have a financial center that facilitates investments not only in Rwanda, but across the region. And it's also important to mention here that the tax structures that we've put in place and the legal framework that we are putting in place are to facilitate those investments, not just in Rwanda, but across Africa. Thank you.
Cuthbert, that must be pretty exciting, right? Because that not only boosts tourism for Belise in Rwanda, but it gives people a safe gateway into tourism investment, as you say, health and medical and infrastructure across the whole of Africa, right?
True indeed, Mark. Our aim is to see a more inclusive and cohesive approach across the continent so that the benefit should be coming to Africa as our home and the society at large. So there are quite a lot of vast opportunities in Africa, and we are so great, but the packaging of our continent still leaves a lot to be desired. So we are trying to see how best we can have an integrated approach to all our member states.
Fantastic. And Belise, in terms of that, what's Rwanda Tourism's sort of integrated policy into the Africa strategy? Is it something where can you envisage travelers coming and being able to move easily around African countries for tourism purposes? I think we've lost Belise. So I suppose I'll come at Cuthbert and say, do you see a situation where somebody can come and with a single visa, travel and explore tourism around regions of Africa?
Mark, this is Nick.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Mark, I think we lost Belise, but I wanted to say to the question that you asked, again, let's recall the developments that have happened in Rwanda. At the moment, we have Rwanda Air that is connecting to more than, I think, 20 destinations in Africa. So it's true to your question. It's very possible for this growth for free trade across Africa to happen. Again, early this year, our president was at the forefront of launching a visa regime that not only speaks to African countries, but to members of the Commonwealth. So it's very possible that as we continue the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, then we are going to see movement of trade, of people, which will contribute to the growth of the African continent.
So if I can, because we need to wrap up, I'm going to ask each of you, if I may, for one piece of advice, one thought that you've got to leave the audience with about Africa, the opportunity in Africa, and where you think the biggest opportunity lies for investment into Africa in a post-COVID world, as we see the world starting to recover, as people, as we heard in the last panel, are desperate to travel. What's the one thought you've got or piece of advice you'd give about investing in or traveling to or taking part in tourism in Africa? Perhaps, Cuthbert, I'll start with you.
Thank you so much, Mark. When it comes to the future, there are three kinds of people: those who let it happen, those who make it happen, and those who wonder what has happened. So therefore, I invite all of us, the splendor of the landscape that stretches through from Cape to Cairo surpasses any imagination, as the continent boasts of so much diverse natural living attractions, which are a satiation to the investor's appetite. Africa is ready. As we are activating our travel sector, we really invite all our investors, our diasporans, to come and take and grab this opportunity. It is yours, and we are welcoming you with open arms.
Fantastic advice, excellent advice. Nick, you've got a broader remit. You're looking at investment more generally. You're making it safe and secure for the whole of Africa. What would your thoughts be about post-COVID environment?
Thank you, Mark. Post-COVID environment, we are seeing accelerated adoption of digital financial services. Therefore, we call for investors who are looking to invest into fintechs into Africa. We believe this is where the future lies. And as you rightly put, Mark, we are creating an environment that is conducive for investment. I recall a while back, someone quoted me a proverb in Chinese where they say, let's build the nests and you bring the birds.
That's absolutely wonderful. Belise, we're just wrapping up now with a thought What thought would you have or advice you might give for people thinking of exploring Africa and investment in Africa, and particularly in tourism, perhaps investment in tourism in Rwanda? What advice or thought would you have from them in a post-COVID world?
Thank you. I think I'm sorry, the call dropped. I don't know exactly what happened, but I believe that Africa is where tourism was born and is going to remain there. If you look at it, Africa has actually the greatest product. From wildlife to beaches to we've got it all. I think this is where you should put your money, starting of course from Rwanda.
That's absolutely fantastic. We're delighted. We were concerned that that magnificent gorilla behind you had leapt through your window and was disrupting the Wi-Fi. But thank you all very much. That was a really magnificent panel. It's exciting. I've definitely got my checkbook out, and I look forward to the opportunity to chat with you again another time. But thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you to the audience and the other panelists.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nick. Bye-bye.
Thanks.